Ladies and gentlemen, we are
Mm-hmm.
back with another episode of Allegedly Adults. This is episode 6. Ain't that right, Jordan?
Got episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6.
6.
Yes. I am Steven, and joining me as always, you already know him. This is Jordan. Jordan, say what's up to the people.
What is up, people? As I fix my camera here. Sorry about that. How you feeling, Steve? How we living?
Chilling, man. Big chilling. Big chilling.
I love
Ready
it.
to talk some NBA hoops?
I am very ready to talk some NBA hoops.
Good, because a lot has happened since we last recorded.
Yes, it has.
Let's just dive right into it.
Let's do it.
Paul George is headed to the Philadelphia 76ers on a 4-year, $211 million max deal. How do
Yeah.
you feel about that?
Man, I think that if they stay healthy, they are going to be tough. And I mean, like, because that's the thing about Philly is they were always kind of like there was always two, but that third one was it's got to be a
Yeah.
different dude on any given night. You know, whether it's Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler when they had him or
Yeah.
JJ. Well, Jimmy and Embiid were kind of the two there, but now they have a killer at every major position. They've got Maxi, PG, and Embiid. I mean,
It's
that's
going to be tough.
yeah.
That's going to be a lot to handle for any NBA defense.
Absolutely. I'm probably still picking Boston to come out of the East, like way, way early predictions for next year. But man, in that second spot, I think you'd have a hard time picking anybody other than Philly right now, at least.
Yeah, I think, like you said, health is going to be the biggest thing with them because their top 3 guys are very, very, very talented, but 2 of the 3 are, I don't want to say injury prone, but are in and out of the lineup a lot. Going elsewhere around the league, Klay Thompson. He's headed to Dallas in what seems to be a 5-team trade.
5-team
Five
trade.
team trade. That's what they're calling right now between Golden State, Dallas, Minnesota, Philly, and Charlotte.
Bro, before we get into the Clay to Dallas, like, I cannot imagine having to be in the room as part of one of the people that has to figure out a 5-team trade.
Dude, yeah, no. I'm good on that.
Like, can you imagine your first day in the office? It's like 5-team trade just went down. We gotta figure out all the logistics for where everything's gonna go. And new dude's like, bro, I just got it. Like, I don't
Like,
I don't
I don't
know
know
what
what's going
I don't
on.
know what any of this means.
I don't know what any of this is. I'm scared.
I don't know what's happening. But no, Clay to Dallas. I mean, what do you think?
That's gonna be, you know what? Hold on. I want to discuss, all the moving pieces that we can get into them individually, okay?
I
So there's quite a bit of draft capital being thrown around here. I'm not going to get too deep into that. I just wanted to list some of the major names. So Clay, obviously, to Dallas. Buddy Hield is headed to Golden State. Kyle Anderson is also headed to Golden State. And Josh Green is headed to Charlotte. And like I said, they're attaching draft capital. So if you want to keep track of that, go for it. But it's a headache.
It's a bunch of second round picks. That's all I know. I don't think there was a first round pick exchanged in this entire deal. For one of the greatest shooters of all time.
So Clay in Dallas. I'm interested to see how Clay does on another team that's not Golden State. That's for
Same.
sure.
Same.
I think he can be just as effective, if not more so, this upcoming season than he has the past, couple seasons for sure. I mean, playing next to guys like Luka and Kyrie, that's going to open up so much for him.
Absolutely.
Not that playing next to Steph didn't put up a lot, but I mean, the shots are going to be there. I would like to think that Clay will stay consistent on defense, but age is age, so you never know.
Age is age, and Dallas isn't a team that likes to run a lot of action. So I don't know. Like, not that Clay isn't a spot up shooter. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that.
But still, though.
But a lot of his good shots came off of actions, not like, Dallas is really pick and roll heavy. But I also think when you get a guy like like a shooter like Klay Thompson that, yeah, he's older now, but he what he can do for you, I think that makes you play a different way. Not completely, Luka and Kai are still your 1 and 2, no questions asked, and you want those guys, when it's an ISO situation or when, pick and roll. I'm not saying stop pick and roll. So when you need those things, you have them, but then you have Klay that opens up more things for your offense to do, because it's not a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. where, no offense to Tim Hardaway Jr., but nobody's really looking at him to do the type of things that Klay can do.
I would say to the consistency level.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The bigger name leaving Dallas that I hate that Josh Green had to go, because I feel like Josh Green was the lone dog coming out of their second unit. So didn't really love to see him go. But then again, like when it's for a guy like Klay Thompson,
You get it done.
you got it. Yeah, exactly.
You were this close to a championship. Just think those shots that Dallas's role players were missing in the finals. If you get Klay Thompson, like everybody knows Klay Thompson, those shots are going to drop, and those games might have different outcomes. You don't know.
Excuse me. Absolutely. You're 100% right. Buddy Hield to Golden State. I like that.
Me too.
Buddy Hield has hit more threes than anybody else in the league the last 3 years, including Steph.
Yep.
And Buddy Hield is a guy that he's not going to give you the defense that Klay gave you, but he's also like proven to be one of the best shooters of this decade in the last, 6 or 7 years. When Buddy Hield's healthy, he's a sniper. Like that's what you're getting from Buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that pickup for them, especially to replace, an amazing talent like Klay Thompson. You still get high level shooting in Buddy Hield.
Absolutely.
And then you're bringing in a veteran like Kyle Anderson.
Slow-mo.
Cracked out jumper, but is a Swiss Army knife.
Now that thing is ugly.
Anderson.
So it helps fill a void for the event that they do move on from, a guy like Andrew Wiggins, or I don't know if they'll move on from him, but Jonathan Kuminga,
Yeah.
Just in case. You never know what's going to come across the table for Golden State, especially because.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially because they're rumored to be pursuing Lauri Markkanen.
Yep.
So I'm guessing one or both would be included in a deal. I'm not sure, but it helps fill a void for sure. You can never have enough Swiss Army knives on your team.
Exactly. And if there's any team that knows how to use guys like that, it's Golden State.
Exactly.
Another person leaving the Golden State Warriors, unless you had anything else you wanted to touch on any of this other stuff. Chris Paul going to the San Antonio Spurs to team up with Wemby on a 1-year deal worth $11 million.
I love that.
I love it.
I love that.
I love it. I think that's the perfect all year. The kind of the thing was like they need a point guard down there. Well, you just got the best one since John Stockton. Like
it's a perfect situation for all parties involved.
Yeah, exactly.
You have CP3 who obviously wants a championship, but it's been tough for him to get it on these, championship caliber teams for whatever reason. It just hasn't worked. Not saying that he still can't, but just to kind of get you could probably say get his value back up in this 1 year, right?
I would think so. Or this is
or a
let me ride along a little bit of greatness in this Wembanyama kid. Go out with some eyeballs and that's not a shot either. Like that's let me be a part of him. Let me teach him the game. Let me teach him what a good point guard looks like. Because that's the thing, kids that are watching, you've never seen a league where the whole thing is ran through by the big man. Like the whole offense is through the big. That hasn't been around a lot. I mean, I know like Embiid, yeah, you could say that, but
outside of Embiid, Jokic, and we'll just throw Giannis in here for the sake of things. Like
exactly.
It hasn't been popular since the 2000s. Let's put it that way.
Point I was going to make was CP is the perfect point guard for Wembanyama. Because CP is not going to be chucking up 25 shots a game. That is not the type of point guard that needs to play with Wembanyama.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they got is it Stefan Castle or Steven Castle?
Stefan Castle out of
Stefan
UConn.
Castle.
Yep.
And
6'6" guard.
Is he kind of like a bucket? Is that kind of his? I don't know much about him.
I would say from the little I've seen, he can get his, but I would say his defense is the most fascinating thing about him.
Okay. So a big guard that can defend and I'm assuming shoot, probably. I mean,
he didn't shoot well. I don't think he shot well at UConn. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he didn't shoot well at UConn. However, that's not to say he can't shoot, though.
Exactly. And I don't know if they're going to make any trades. Like, I don't know what they plan on doing with Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell or Jeremy Sohan or any of those guys.
But if they don't do anything, like, that's still okay.
That's fine. Like, that's the thing, is that's fine. And Chris Paul now takes on that point guard responsibility that was being kind of shared between 3 or 4 players that weren't point guards.
Right.
In the traditional sense, at least. I know that the position has changed over the years. A traditional run the ship, get the ball where it needs to go, point guard, score when you need him to. Chris Paul is the perfect one to play with Wembanyama.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that pickup for them. Another interesting pickup, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Signed a 3-year, $66 million contract with the Orlando Magic.
Detroit Pistons. Damn it, I wanted him back. Man. It's a great pickup for him, but like I wanted KCP back, man. That one
Orlando's tough, bro.
Orlando is tough. And I understand why he went to Orlando.
They're tough.
If you're sitting with your agent and your agent calls the Pistons and the Magic and says, you guys got to make a pitch to him because he can't decide. Orlando sounds a hell of a lot more intriguing than Detroit does. It just does, especially for a guy like him. And, you know, they've got so many pieces around, and they do look like they are the young and upcoming team in the East. So it was a great signing for them.
Yeah, it shows that Orlando is serious about making that next step.
Absolutely.
So a couple other, small signings that I wanted to mention. Jonas Valanciunas, he signs with Washington on 3 years, $30 million.
Weird one. That was just weird.
That was one that I don't think, at least I know we weren't expecting Washington out of all teams to get him. But Isaiah Hartenstein, he signed with OKC on a 3-year, $87 million deal.
He got paid.
It's a nice pickup for OKC.
Yes, it is.
They're another team that's serious.
Are they going to troll out some lineups with Chet at the 4?
Yes. Yes, they will. They absolutely will. Chet
at the 4. J-Dub at the 3. Yeah.
I'm going to go as far as to say as Chet and Hartenstein are going to be starting to start the year.
Yeah. Now that I think about that a little bit more, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Another former Piston, Andre Drummond, signs with the Philadelphia 76ers on a 2-year, $10 million deal. Drummond was a guy that I think a lot of Pistons fans would have loved to have back, just because we are in dire need of a backup big right now. And he checks the boxes currently.
That's just the tough thing about being a really bad team, is these players that can help you win are going to go to a place that's already winning and help them win. Because KCP and Andre Drummond, at this point in their careers, they need to be playing for championships.
Yeah.
There's no point. Like, granted, Drummond probably would have enjoyed a return to Detroit. I'm sure he would have. The city would have embraced it. But going and playing for Philly when they just signed Paul George and like getting to be a part of that team, like, I don't blame him. I can't say that I'm upset at that,
Absolutely.
So shout out to all these guys. Shout out to all the former Pistons that left the team and made their money.
Well, I got 2 more Pistons to mention.
Okay.
Alec Burks, or former Pistons. Alec Burks goes to Miami on a 1-year deal, And Monte Morris, I actually like this signing a lot. Goes to Phoenix.
Yeah,
Monte
I like
Morris and
that.
Phoenix. I like that a lot for the Suns.
Absolutely. Another former Piston that signed a deal was James Wiseman signing with the Indiana Pacers.
I got nothing to add.
Yeah, yeah, good riddance, big dog.
Let's talk about some big contracts, though. And why not get into the biggest contract, I believe, in NBA history? Is it official?
JT.
Jason Tatum
Yep.
signs a 5-year, $314 million supermax contract extension with the Boston Celtics.
$314 million.
God, hey, bro.
Hey, and what's crazy is he's from St. Louis. 314 is the St. Louis area code.
No way.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
It was an inside job. It was playing the whole time.
Someone had to have negotiated that
Oh,
specific number.
absolutely.
That's dope. That's dope as heck.
Justified. I mean, the contract money nowadays is crazy. Like, it is crazy. But
Yeah. It's only going to get crazier, too.
if that's the market, though, it's like, yeah, like, and that's another thing, too, is every year somebody's going to get the biggest contract ever.
Right.
It's not the days of like a handful of guys get paid 30 and everybody else is making 8, 7, we're to the point now where like Emmanuel Quickly just got like $170 million or $180 million. Like,
yeah,
that's a lot of money for a guy that like no shots isn't going to be the best player on your team. So the money is stupid right now. What else we got for giant money contracts?
Ron James re-signs with the Lakers on 2 years, $104 million. And it includes a player option and no trade clause. So after this season, if he wants to bounce, he can bounce.
He'll probably retire after this season, I would think.
We're going to find out, aren't we?
I think if he was going to bounce, it would have been this year. But kind of makes me think that he's like, all right, let me play this season out with Bronny and then get out of Dodge.
I'm curious to see what goes on with LeBron because there's a lot of different directions he can go right now.
Well, there is, and like I keep seeing reports that he wants to play 2 or 3 more years.
He can do it.
He can't. Like, that's the thing. He could.
Man, I say keep going. This is history that we're watching. Why not keep it going?
I know. And if you can be 46 and average 25, 7, 7, like, why not? I guess. What else are you going to do? Like, start playing golf?
To continue on the Lakers, they just signed a head coach, or hired a head coach, I should say. Someone that a lot of basketball fans are familiar with. JJ Redick. Who'd have thought?
I had a feeling once that podcast came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still kind of surprising to me though, because I remember back when JJ came out with his Old Man in the Three podcast, like early episodes, he talked about coaching and how he didn't want to be an NBA coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see this a couple years later, it's like, dang, like times just changed. It's crazy.
Well, and I think that part of it could be like, you get to like call the games and stuff, and like you're there and you get to experience it, but you're not a part of it. Like,
yeah,
you're a part of the show. You're not a part of the game.
Exactly. Yep.
And so I do think that's probably that had to have crossed his mind at some point. Like, man, I want to be able to affect these games that I'm watching because I see some stuff that I would do differently. I feel like it shouldn't be a hot take for me to say this, but it is. I'm really not upset with the hiring. Because if you're the Lakers right now, it's like, it didn't matter who you guys hired. They were going to get clowned regardless. Like, no matter if you hired a James Borrego or, any of the, like a Budenholzer, and I know he's not available, but I'm just saying, like, guys that have had success elsewhere, screw it. Like, try something new. You need to do something different. Like it can't be the same of like we're gonna be good enough to get in the playoffs. We're gonna play to Denver, or we're gonna play Denver in the first round. We're gonna win 3/4 of the game and then give it up in the fourth quarter. It's been 2 years straight of that now. Every one of those games could have been won, but they weren't. So I don't hate the hiring. What do you think?
I'm open for it. Why not? Like you said, I mean, JJ's a former player. It's it really depends on who it is. Oftentimes, former players get flack for not having coaching experience, right? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but they played for 10 plus years in the league.
Yeah,
So
it's like if anybody,
obviously,
yeah.
coaching and playing are different, but there's also, similarities as well. Like just being familiar with the flow of the game, offensive coverages, defensive coverages, how to manage people, that sort
Well,
of thing.
and that's the thing is like he's watched different coaches his entire career.
Hmm.
And JJ's a smart guy. Like he's gonna pick up on the stuff that he's if you listen to Old Man in the Three, he's always talking about like the little nuances of the game and like this part of it. He's
Well,
watched people that know how like what works and what doesn't.
right. And I mean, you're playing with arguably the greatest basketball player to ever play, who's also arguably the smartest basketball player to ever play. Not
Exactly.
not to mention, did you hear who's joining his coaching staff?
I can't the names are escaping me, but I have seen the reports coming out.
Nate McMillan and
Mm-hmm.
Scott Brooks, two well-known NBA coaches. So, I mean, there you go. There's a lot of experience surrounding JJ. It's just going to be up to JJ on how he uses that information.
And I think it was smart of JJ to get all this experience around him. And
Hmm.
it was calculated that way. Like he was like, you know what? Okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm getting strictly good people around me that I can trust, that have seen it, that have been there to help me through because JJ, I mean, he already did it in a press conference when they asked him, people talking about you, you're like, I don't give up. Like JJ he's a little spicy.
I'm
So
I'm curious to see if he's gonna break. I don't want to say break the mold between coaches and the media, but maybe add a new twist to how they respond to the media.
I think that's a very, very good possibility that
Yeah.
happens.
Speaking of coaches, let's dive into these Detroit Pistons, shall we?
Let's do it.
JB Bickerstaff is our new coach. New coach of the Detroit Pistons. I believe he signed for 5 years. I think it was 5 years, right?
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about the duration. I've told you I don't think it's gonna last the entire 5 years, which is okay. That's fine.
As long as it doesn't
At,
last for the right reasons.
right. As long as we improve during that duration, I'm not tripping about it. Which, I'm hopeful for. I mean, look what he did when he played for Cleveland, right? Or coach Cleveland. Took the Cavs or won 44 plus games in the past 3 seasons with Cleveland, and they've made the playoffs in the last two. And he took over for Bayline, right?
Yeah. I want to say
Yeah,
so.
and they were struggling. So I mean, you hear guys like Kevin Love who played for him talk about his communication, how good of a communicator he is.
Yep.
And then I also hear like that he's a defensive minded coach, which fits our culture or what we would like our culture to be, I should say.
Mhm.
And hopefully we can, mold that into fruition. How do you feel about the hire?
When I think about it, there's points where I'm excited, and then there's points where I'm like, I wish we would have went with a fresh face.
Hmm.
Coaches get fired for a reason. Now, you're right. He did take over a very young Cleveland team at the time and turned it around. And so that gives me hope because that's what we need.
That's the
Um,
optimism in it. Yeah.
but also because he was on the staff, correct? He just wasn't the head coach.
I want to say yes. I honestly don't
Because
recall.
Beeline got fired mid-season.
Yeah, or wasn't it kind of early?
It was really early.
It's like 25 games in or something like that.
Yeah, it could have been even less than that. So he kind of had time to be there and get to know the guys before he was head coach. But I'm also an overthinker and I'm kind of pessimistic, admittedly, being a Detroit sports fan. So I hope it works out. I really do. I mean, it's a veteran coach that is at a different point in his coaching career than Monty Williams was. And he also, there's not the stuff going on outside of the game that there was with Monty, and we didn't have to throw him $100 million just to take the job. So I would just say I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Tobias Harris.
Yes,
We
sir.
got him. Welcome back, Tobias. Happy to have you.
Absolutely, we are.
He's coming back to the Pistons on a 2-year, $52 million contract, which I know some fans are upset about for whatever reason. But
Why?
who genuinely in free agency, who else were we going to get?
Exactly.
Who else
What
did we
else
have
were we gonna?
a legit shot at?
Yeah, what else were we gonna do? Like, okay, you're mad at the move. What did you want us to do? Because all the people that we named off, it's not like any of them signed for anything crazy outside of the All-Stars. They wouldn't want to come here. Why would you? Why would you want to come here right now? Like, Tobias has ties to the organization. So boom. What else were we gonna do? Like, did you want to pay KCP $40 million just to come here? Like, is that really what you wanted to do? You want to give Jonas Valanciunas $25-30 million a year? Because that's what it's going to take to get one of those guys. One of those guys that knows they can go to a different team and help their winning. Now, granted, Jonas Valanciunas to Washington was just weird. Like, it was just weird. But most of these guys, they're going to places that want them and that need their services, not a player coach or a coach on the court. What else were we going to do?
And I mean, you look at Tobias, he's 31. He averaged 17 points and 6.5 rebounds last season. He fills a need on this team.
Yeah.
Voice in the locker room. He can get a bucket when he needs to get a bucket. And he's tenacious.
Yeah.
That's all you can really ask for, especially when we have young wings like Asar and Ron Holland. Like, that's a guy that they can learn from. And not to mention Cade can actually learn from too. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I like the signing. I'm happy to have him back. I was sad when he left after his first stint here, but I mean, we got Blake Griffin, so I couldn't really be too upset. But that being said, I loved Tobias during his first stint in Detroit. So I'm very happy to have him back. And it's 2 years, man. He's still
Exactly. Like, he's a veteran expiring contract on an affordable deal.
exactly. If need be.
If need be. Yeah, if need be. And like Cade Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, whoever's at the 4, and Jalen Duren, or if we make a trade, that doesn't sound like it's going to be the worst team in the league. Cade Cunningham, Alec Burks, whoever the hell else from last year, like, it's different. It's different. It's talent. It's proven bona fide talent that we got with Tobias that we did not have last year.
Absolutely.
Alec Burks, I hope you're happy in Miami. And I hope you go to the beach and get a sunburn.
That's okay. I actually like Alec Burks, so Jordan, I'm gonna let you have that one.
That's fine. I hate him. I don't hate him. I could not stand when he was in the game. But I digress.
Speaking of talent, though, let's talk about arguably our most talented young prospect on this team, Cade Cunningham.
Big bang!
It is reported that him and the Pistons are in talks of his max contract rookie extension. 5 years, $226 million is what it's looking like.
That's some money.
Necessary money.
Necessary money for sure. Wait, 5 years, 222?
226.
That's like That's actually like a pretty affordable max contract.
That's the thing with these contracts, man. Like they're only going to look better and better as the years go on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Depending
there's,
how you break down the yearly salaries.
yeah.
I feel like it's almost smarter to front load a contract anymore than to
Mhm.
back load one. Like just for some reason it doesn't work out with Cade and we end up moving him somewhere else. Like it'd be smarter to get 120 million out of the way in the first couple of years.
Yeah,
But at the same time, like I don't even want to think about that because Cade's the dude. Like Cade's the guy. So I smiled very, very big when that notification came across my phone.
yeah, me too. It was almost like a sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
Like finally, like pay the man. My goodness. But do you think any other moves are going to happen for the Pistons because they still have about I think it's about 24 million in cap space? Do you think any potential deals or even picking up another free agent that's still available maybe? I mean, there's a list of names of guys that are still on
Gary
the
Trent
market.
still hasn't gotten signed yet. That's a
As
guy
as
that,
we're recording, no.
yeah, no. Well, there's going to be at least one because I think we have to use some of that money. We don't have to use every bit of it, but I think we do have to use, I would think like 4 or 5 million of it at least.
Do you think money is going to be used to sign a guy or take on a contract and a deal?
I have been seeing some rumblings that Langdon is waiting for a team that needs a third team in a trade. Um, so if I had to guess, that's probably how that's going to happen. Is we take on a bad contract
Mhm.
from somebody trying to move somebody in hopes to getting somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, there's still talent left in free agency, like you said, Gary Trent Jr., Malik Beasley, Tyus Jones would be a fun backup guard to have.
I think
Luke Kennard.
Malik Beasley and Luke Kennard are both names that the Pistons should be watching and keeping an
Mhm.
eye on. And if it gets down to the nitty gritty of free agency, they need to be one of those last teams in the mix for them. Uh, because if you can get those guys at the right price, which to play in Detroit you probably won't, but if you can get those kind of guys, I'll take both of them. To be honest with you, like
Yeah,
I
if you can pull it off.
I would love to get Luke Kennard back in Detroit.
If you can pull it off for sure. JaVale McGee, that would be a backup big. I would love to have.
Same,
I love JaVale.
yeah,
He's he's just the perfect veteran big,
he is.
in my opinion.
It is wild the just complete 180 that his career did, and like yeah, it's funny like the Shaq and the Fool stuff, but
Mhm.
seriously, how he went from kind of a guy that people laughed at to a guy that people want on their team is really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
LA really when his time in LA really revived his career.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Also, his time in Phoenix was pretty good too.
Yes, his time in Phoenix too.
Um, you mentioned this guy earlier, Markel Fultz. It's another guy we could go
I
out and
think I
get.
mentioned him last episode.
Our last episode.
Um, but yeah, no, Markel Fultz is a guy too. Like, bring him on. I don't care. I don't care who it is, to be honest. I just want guys that have played before that know how to play. That's really all I want at this
Mhm.
point.
Well, you mentioned us maybe being a third team in a deal that take on a bad contract. Um, as of today, it's rumored that DeMar DeRozan is, looking to go to Sacramento. But the thing is that Chicago really doesn't want to take back any salaries in said deal, so they're looking for a third team. Could we come in? You
I
know,
just depending on what the who we get back. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a deal that we could get our hands on.
one name that I seen was Kevin Huerter. I wouldn't hate that,
No, come on, Kev.
but I'm trying to think who would like besides him. I don't know who else we would really take back. We have Tobias Harris, so we really don't want Harrison Barnes.
No, we don't want Harrison Bar. I mean, I wouldn't. wouldn't be mad at Harrison Barnes if that's who it ended up being. I think that does kind of. Yeah, no, you know what? Actually, I don't think I love Harrison Barnes. It's not going to be Keegan Murray.
Oh, heck no. We're not getting any of their big names by any like
No,
their
no,
key.
I know
No.
that. I know that. I'm just trying to think of who's on their team because obviously they got Fox, Sabonis, Murray. Where did Malik Monk go? Did he resign?
Oh, no, he went. No, he did resign. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
He
technically that
resigned.
could
Yeah.
be considered like a sign and trade type of thing, but I don't think he can
No,
be traded now.
even if he could, just hypothetically, even if he could, he's not. Like he's staying
Yeah.
put.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true.
I think
So yeah,
the only other team that can really make a deal besides us, I think, is Charlotte. They're the only other team with that much cap space.
yeah.
So I maybe we get in on the DeMar DeRozan deal. Maybe we're a part of the, potential Lowry marketing deal that might happen. There's definitely some possibilities.
Would you give up Ivy and Duran for Markkinen?
I would love to say yes, but at the same time, like, is marketing our starting center?
Exactly.
But
Ivy and
that's
Stu.
that's one of those things though that, if it just say it were to happen, you might have to look at it as, okay, let's just grab them and then figure it out later.
Because that's when you have to rely on like the JaVale McGee's to be like your starting center.
Yeah, or make an additional deal.
But we wouldn't have any cap space left if we traded for Lowry because he makes a bunch of money.
Yeah, that's true. So I wonder if it would be Lowry and then how much does Clint Capella make?
I don't know. Is he in Utah?
No, he's in Atlanta, but he's been rumored to be on the move for quite a while now.
He's still in Atlanta?
Uh-huh.
What?
I'm pretty sure.
Dude, if you're Atlanta, you kind of got to move that so Onyeka Okongwu can develop, or else you just wasted that pick.
Am I tripping?
I don't think you are. He's not because
Yeah, he's still in Atlanta.
yeah, he's okay.
I mentioned Charlotte earlier. Did you hear about Kemba Walker?
I did. I did.
Boy retired,
Yes, sir.
but he's joining the coaching staff as a
That's
player
dope.
enhancement coach. So that's pretty cool for Kemba.
That's dope.
Definitely know that he loves the game, wants to still be around the game. So I think that's perfect for him.
And
Gets
I
to
wonder
hop
if
on.
he has aspirations to head coach someday.
Maybe that'd be kind of cool.
It
He would.
would.
That'd be cool to see him as the Knicks coach.
What do you think of Kemba's career? Like when we look
Um,
back 10, 15 years from now, what are we going to be saying about Kemba Walker?
I would say it was disappointing that he never got to experience like a deep playoff run
Yeah.
because he definitely had the talent to be the head of a team.
Well, bro, he was cardiac Kemba in college.
I mean, look at what Brunson's doing right now. That's what a lot of people thought that Kemba would be doing.
Mhm.
So the fact that we never really got to see that is kind of disappointing. But I mean, he's cardiac Kemba, bro.
It's weird how he kind of got played out of the league. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because he's not old. Like, how old is he? 31, 32? He can't be much older than that.
He's got to be low to mid 30s. But
And
he's still the talent. I wonder, I don't know, the league's funny about pushing guys out. Yeah, he's 34 years old.
okay, so he's a little older than I thought he was. But still, like, I don't know. Kemba just feels like a player that was better than this goodbye. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it kind of also makes sense. Like, because those Charlotte teams back in the day, like, they were, when they had the All-Star game in Charlotte and Kemba made the All-Star game, like, that was kind of when it felt like he was at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
And he was a multiple-time All-Star, I think. But man, Kemba just had a really weird career. Like, And it does suck that he was stuck in Charlotte because they're just such a bad organization. Like they really are. And I no shots to anybody, but at the same time, it's like that it's not a great organization. And he was kind of stuck there. And then when he got to Boston, he was hurt a lot and he bounced around after that. He was on the Pistons at one point for like 2 weeks. Like it was just an odd end of Kemba's career.
Yeah, I'm happy he's still a part of the league though, because a lot of guys don't get that opportunity. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you still have Isaiah Thomas out there clawing to get on a team, and I freaking love Isaiah, and I think he would be a great voice to have in anyone's locker room. But it's the way it's looking like nobody's gonna give him that real chance, you know?
And correct me if I'm wrong, Kemba is the guy that they replaced. Who did you just say? I'm
Isaiah,
sorry. Isaiah. Yeah, Kemba is the guy that replaced Isaiah, correct?
I I want to say so. I want to say so.
So it's just weird that they both ended up in the situation that they're in. Because they
Yeah,
were, but like that year in Boston for IT was
dude,
legendary.
dude, mighty IT, bro. He did some crazy things on the court, things that you probably won't see for quite some time from a guy that size.
Exactly. Anybody that's nice that I'm taller than, I'm a fan.
Dude, like between him and even watching Nate Robinson put on for Chicago in the playoffs, like those are
Mhm.
two playoff performances that I will always remember.
Nate Robinson, NBA 2K14 was unstoppable. That team was so much fun. They had Ty Lawson was nice on the game. Like, not, I don't, it's Ty Lawson. But Ty Lawson, Nate Robinson, and Kenneth Fareed. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
yeah,
That's a 2K nightmare if you're
yeah.
I was busting people's ass with those guys.
That was such a yeah, that was
It
a fun
was.
team to run
It
with for
was
sure.
was Iguodala. I
In
think he was
14, I think so.
in 14. I know he was in 13.
Because he didn't go to Golden State until 15, and that's when they won the chip, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah. So Iguodala was still there too. And Iguodala he was a great 2K player back in the day.
Dude, I used to put on with Iggy,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was the Sixers or the Nuggets. If you know, you know. Whoever's taking those whippings from me in 2K, y'all know.
Oh
Talking
yeah,
to you,
I
Ahmed.
know. I know
Talking to you,
too.
Eric.
Used to bust
Oh
my ass
man.
on 2K.
But yeah,
And a lot of
it's
you don't remember Iggy. You remember Iguodala, but you don't
yeah.
remember Iggy because
It,
Iggy was nice back in
dude,
the day.
Iggy had it, bro. Like during that transition in Philly when AI kind of left and then Iggy took over,
He
like
was an
that
all-star.
Iggy was a
Like
dog,
Iggy
bro.
was an all-star. He was in the dunk contest. Like, man, those jerseys. Those freaking Philly jerseys when he was there.
Are you talking about like in 2009?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually have the black one from that year. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
those uniforms were so clean. They had I think they had this like remixed like red one too that didn't
I
really
think
get
they did.
I don't think it got too much run, but it was nice.
The
Uh
Calvin Cambridge AI blue jersey is my favorite out of the 76ers like retro jerseys. That one's definitely my favorite. The blue.
yeah, that
We'll
one's
have
that
an
was a
episode
classic.
on jerseys for sure. We definitely will.
One other thing on Iguodala. So I guess he did go to Golden State in the 2013 to 14 season. So it must have been like 2K12 or something like that you're thinking of.
No, it's 2K14. I just couldn't remember if Iguodala was on those teams because it was
Gotcha.
only reason I remember is because it was the first 2K on PS4.
Ah, yes.
Yep.
LeBron, the chalk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Last thing we're going to talk about. USA basketball is right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
They have a squad, bro. Have you seen this roster?
Yeah.
For the people who don't know this roster, I'm gonna read it off for y'all. So we got our guards: Stephen Curry,
Oh.
Devin Booker,
Oh.
Tyrese Halliburton,
Oh.
Drew Holiday,
Oh.
And Ant-Man, Anthony
Oh,
Edwards. I mean, come on, bro. And
crazy.
then your forwards, Bron, KD, Jason Tatum, and Kawhi. Dude. Just first of all, Bron and Steph on the same team. Like,
Come on. Come on.
and then your centers or your bigs, I should say, you have Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo to round out the USA squad.
The front
That
court's got to be the weakest part, right?
I would say so, but it's still strong as heck.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, this team's
Well,
freaking loaded.
I feel like people could easily make an argument for the guards, but
Where?
yeah.
Where? Like, I guess Tyrese.
Well, it depends on how you feel about Joel and AD and Bam, right? Because some people hold them to, you know, high regard, but
Well, I mean, I
yeah.
guess when Joel is healthy, he's one of the three best players in the league.
And when Anthony Davis is on, he's on. Same with Bam. Like, but the thing is, Stephen Curry, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday's consistent clamps, Anthony Edwards, young star in the making.
If you think Drew Holiday it doesn't deserve to be here, then I want you to ask anybody that he's ever guarded if he doesn't deserve to be there.
If anybody thinks that, go back and watch some film. Watch some game.
Watch basketball. Get off Twitter. Watch basketball if you think that Drew Holiday shouldn't be there. And Tyrese Halliburton. If you think that Tyrese Halliburton doesn't deserve to be there, you don't watch basketball. Because I don't give a damn what you think of Tyrese's ability to put the ball in the basket. You think that Tyrese isn't going to be able to find Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, LeBron James, KD, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo. You think he ain't finding them?
There's gonna be a lot of highlights with this team, man. I
Come
can't
on,
wait.
bro.
I will say though, is Kawhi officially playing? Because I heard rumors that he might not be playing and that Derek White might take his slot. I don't know if that's official or not. I don't know what the outcome was, but
Even if he doesn't, though, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's still a unit for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't know if Kawhi is officially playing in the Olympics.
Whether
But
it's Kawhi or Derek White. I mean,
yeah,
Derek White. All right. I get it. I get it. I get it. Get it. Not gonna say nothing bad about Derek White. I get it. I'm just saying, like, going from Kawhi to Derek White is like,
well, nowadays,
well, yeah.
I'm just kidding. Jokes. But they start their basketball on the 10th of July in Vegas, and they're playing Canada. And then they go on to play Australia, Serbia, South Sudan, and Germany before the Olympics. So these are all before the Olympic Games. And then the first official Olympic game for them is July 28th against Serbia. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be some fun summer hoops. I don't know.
And who's in Serbia?
Isn't that Yoke?
Is it Yoke? Well,
Pretty sure that's Yoke. Is he playing though?
I don't know. I don't know. He might be racing horses somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's Bogdanovic. I know he's part of that team. I don't know who
Belt to
else.
ass, bro.
I don't think it's really gonna matter. Like
No.
on paper, this team should, and as good as the rest of the world is now, because
Oh
the rest of the world
yeah.
is phenomenal,
For
especially
sure.
Australia. Australia, you gotta watch out for Australia.
Canada.
But just on paper, bro, this team should be just fine. But that being said, it's the Olympics. We've seen things happen.
Not when Brown and KD and Steph are there. Nah, I just don't. I think those three could beat every other team's best five. I really do. Like, those are the best basketball players.
That's gonna be a tough ask for any country to go up and guard. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Hey, I know you've been guarding 18-year-old EuroLeague prospects all year. Now you got Steph.
I think Greece and who does Luca play for? Oh, that's slipping my mind.
Is it Slovenia?
I know Giannis and Luca were supposed to be matching up today. I wonder who won that game. Yeah, Slovenia is who Luca plays for. But that probably was a really good game.
How does Joel Embiid get to play on the USA team?
Well, I don't know how the citizenship works and all that, but I know he had a choice between France and USA, and he chose USA. And then the French team got really upset with him, apparently.
Oh yeah. Joel really seems like the type of guy to care too.
But yeah, if any of you have never followed USA basketball before and are basketball fans, I highly recommend it because it is one of the fun parts when it comes to sports in the summer, for sure.
And
I
they're
remember,
playing for something different. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm
yes,
sorry, but you're
yes.
playing for something different.
You're playing for your country. You're playing for a gold medal. You're playing for history.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to play with some of the best players in the world too. And you don't get those opportunities all the time, especially for guys who aren't always all stars. You know what I mean? Or in different conferences for all stars. You don't get to play with certain people.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really fun basketball. Especially global basketball. It's a better watch than NBA basketball to me currently.
Yes. 100% the product is better. Um, I will ask you who's going to be the Carmelo Anthony?
Of this team?
Yep. Because for any of you that don't know what we're talking about, Melo was a great player in the league, but when it came to the Olympics, Melo was like the best player on the court whenever they got on there.
Yeah.
Like Melo used to go crazy in the Olympics.
What was that game? I think they were playing Nigeria and they won by literally almost 100 points. It was incredible. I think he broke the scoring record in a single game at the time. I don't know if that's been broken. It might have been broken already, but I think he hit 13 threes in that game. And if you watch Melo shoot the basketball that game, I promise you it is the one of the most beautiful shooting forms you will ever see. Just one of the most beautiful shooting displays you will ever see in a basketball game.
Melo's form when he was on it, especially like when he was with New York. Um, Watching that dude shoot the ball, just watching that guy score, he could score in a phone booth. Like
Dude, so flawless. It's just so pretty to watch. When he's on, man.
all you kids that want to be buckets out there, if you're a bigger guy, like if you're a bigger kid, watch Melo because
Physicality mixed with skill, mixed with
absolutely
fluidity.
the perfect balance of like Steve said, physical, skilled, and just man, Melo was. I wonder if kids right now view Melo the same way that we do. I don't
Nah.
think they do.
Kids know Melo as the LaMelo Ball in Charlotte. That's who kids know Melo as. Which
And
I mean, it's just their time, right?
no, that's fair. It's just, Melo was.
Yeah, it's
I watched that game that he scored, what was it, 61 in the Garden?
hmm
That game was insane.
he hit that half court shot at halftime too, right?
He made
Yeah,
everything that game.
yeah. I think I remember that too because League Pass was free that week.
Mm-hmm. And we had
So
DirecTV.
literally just tuned in oh man,
Yep.
it was great. But to answer your question, I would say there's three names that jump out to me, right? Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and Stephen Curry, because this is Steph's first time playing for the Olympics. He's
Okay.
he's played, I believe he's played FIBA before,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's ever played Olympic basketball.
Now that you said, I thought James Harden was supposed to play this year too.
Oh, who knows what James Harden's doing?
Yeah, that's fair.
He's who knows, man. But yeah, I think that's gonna bug me now about Steph Curry. Because I want to say that this is his first time.
Well, it had to have been because, 4 to 8 years ago, he was just getting off of a finals run. So
Yeah, and
that makes sense that this would be his first one.
I'm almost positive it was FIBA basketball that he played for USA for. But yeah, I would say one of those three guys, Steph, Ant, or Tatum. honestly, I'm probably leaning towards Steph just because, like I said, it's his first time
Well,
out
and
here
this
in the
is
Olympics.
if it is at least the first, time for him. This is something he's never done before.
Right.
Like this is another thing that he can add to, the impact that he's had on the game.
Exactly. Especially going into this next season after, all the changes at Golden State. Like he might be coming into this USA basketball thing with a chip on his shoulder. It's just to remind people like, hey, I'm still that guy. Like we're gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
For sure.
yeah, it'll be regardless though, it'll be fun basketball. I hope Devin Booker is able to showcase some things because I know in these settings he doesn't really. I mean, he gets his, but it's you don't see him ever really get like you know those 25-point games
For sure.
or 30-point games. So I hope we can see some stuff from him.
He'll probably actually, I don't know if he will start.
I think he'll start. I think it'll be Steph, Book, Katie, Braun, and Joel.
See, I thought it was gonna be Steph, Tatum, Bron, Katie, Joel.
That'd be interesting too. Maybe, we'll see.
But I think he should start. Like I definitely do think he should start. And I can honestly see Tatum starting over Bron solely off of Bron just being like, y'all got it. I'm just here to help. But that
Even
also doesn't
I
really feel like Bron.
I don't see Braun doing that. Even if he is just there, like y'all got it. I'm just here to help. I think he's still starting the games.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, man, that USA basketball should be very fun. Very,
It
very
should be.
fun.
It should be. And I'm very excited to watch this year. I need some more basketball in my life. I can't stand watching baseball, dude. It's such a boring sport to watch. Going to baseball games is a lot of fun. Have you ever been to you've been to a Tigers game, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Baseball games are fun, I think. But watching it on TV, like you're just watching somebody pitch, hoping that every 7 to 8 times it happens, somebody gets a hit. Like watching baseball sucks, dude. Baseball is such a boring ass sport to watch.
Yeah, I'm not a baseball guy.
And
Not
I'm
even
not
close.
asking you to co-sign either. I know that I'm gonna alienate some people with that, but man, I can't stand it.
All right, you got anything else to add?
No, I don't think so. Just to bring it back to the Pistons thing, none of this matters. None of this matters until opening night and we see what the product looks like.
Now opening night. Let's maybe like a month after opening night
Or a month
because
after, but
let's
what I'm just nothing happens until the ball hits the ground. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just booling and fooling along for the ride. We'll see what happens.
Cautiously optimistic.
Absolutely.
That's how it's got to be. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Allegedly Adults.
Thank you.
Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any suggestions on what you want us to talk about next, please let us know. Do not hesitate. And yeah, help us reach those 50 subscribers. We are currently at 32, slowly but surely climbing up. We'll get
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. Follow us on TikTok at Allegedly Adults and follow us on Instagram at Allegedly Adults.
Yep. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you guys next time. Deuces.